All right, today we are diving deep into Amazon's latest quarterly numbers. We're talking Q2 2025, and what a performance it was. We're going to break down exactly what's fueling this global giant, from its massive retail business all the way to its huge bet on AI, so we can really understand how it just keeps on growing. So it really begs the question, right? For a company this massive, how on earth does the world's biggest store get even bigger? We're about to see that it's not just about selling more, stuff. It's about getting smarter, way faster, and a whole lot more efficient at absolutely everything they do. Okay, first things first, let's jump straight into the big headline numbers. This is the top-line performance that really sets the stage for the whole story this quarter. Just look at that number, $167.7 billion. That's not for a year, that's just for Q2, in only 3 months. It's kind of hard to even wrap your head around that scale, but that's the power of their global operation in a single snapshot. And it's not just about the sales. Over $19 billion in operating income, this shows that Amazon is growing profitably and turning a really healthy chunk of all those sales into actual earnings. So that huge revenue figure, it represents a 13% jump from the same time last year. Now, for a company of this size, hitting double-digit growth like that is, well, it's seriously impressive. The whole story here is about momentum. You can see that leap from Q2 of last year to this year. That represents a nearly $20 billion increase in revenue in just 12 months. That's incredible. So the big question is, how are they pulling this off? To really get it, we need to look at the core philosophy that drives their entire retail business, something their CEO, Andy Jassy, talks about constantly. It's all about this idea of inputs versus outputs. So think of it like this. Outputs are the results you want, like, say, revenue or profit. But Amazon's leadership, they don't obsess over those. Instead, they are laser-focused on the inputs, the things they can actually control, like prices, selection, and how fast your package gets to you. The belief is simple but really powerful. If you nail the inputs, the outputs you want will just follow. And what are those key inputs for their retail business? Well, they really boil it down to 3 main things: having the absolute best selection, offering the lowest possible prices, and delivering everything with jaw-dropping speed. These are the levers Amazon just pulls on relentlessly. Here's a perfect example of them focusing on that selection input. For a long time, you couldn't get Nike stuff on Amazon, but now it's back. This is a direct response to what customers want, and it makes the whole store a much more compelling place to shop. They're also getting way smarter about delivery speed. By totally redesigning their network to be more regional, they've actually cut the average distance a package travels by 12%. That makes deliveries both faster and, of course, cheaper to fulfill. And at the same time, they're making the whole process leaner. They've reduced the number of times a package gets handled by a person or machine by almost 15%. It's a textbook example of creating a hyper-efficient system, from the warehouse shelf all the way to your front door. But hey, retail is only one part of this massive story. Let's pivot and look at the 2 other incredibly powerful engines that are driving Amazon's growth and profits: advertising and the cloud. If you look at the total sales mix, you can see how the business is really put together. Yeah, North American retail is the giant here, making up 60%. But look over at AWS, their cloud division, that's a solid 18%. That is a massive, massive business all on its own. Now this is fascinating. Amazon's advertising business is now growing at 22% year over year. Think about that. The ads you see on their website and on Prime Video, that's part of a business that's growing even faster than their cloud behemoth AWS. It has absolutely become a core pillar of growth for them. Now, if we look towards the future, there's one area that Amazon believes is going to completely transform every single part of its business, and that's artificial intelligence. This isn't some little side project. It is rapidly becoming the absolute core of their entire innovation strategy. And you can hear that conviction coming straight from the top. Andy Jassy says their belief that AI will revolutionize everything is already starting to become a reality across the whole company, from features customers see to the tools they use behind the scenes. So how are they actually doing AI? Well, they think about it in these three distinct layers, kind of like a cake. At the bottom, the foundation, you've got the raw computing power. We're talking custom chips and top-of-the-line NVIDIA GPUs. Then, in the middle layer, you have the tools for developers, things like their Bedrock service. And at the very top, you get the finished product, the AI-powered apps. A great example is a tool called Deep Fleet, which is already making their million-plus warehouse robots 10% more efficient. That's a huge deal.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. After seeing all that, what are the key things we should really take away from this incredibly strong quarter?
Here's the whole growth story in one simple table. I mean, there's impressive growth pretty much everywhere you look, but the real standouts? Advertising and AWS. Both are growing even faster than the retail businesses and are acting like powerful accelerators for the entire company. So we kind of end right where we started. The company isn't just getting bigger, it's getting fundamentally better, smarter, and way more efficient. With its core retail machines so finely tuned and this powerful new AI engine just starting to fire on all cylinders, it leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought. What, if anything, can actually slow Amazon down?